I now invite Mr. Jubran Siddique to take over and address the audience on this topic. Where is FinTech heading?
Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much, Brother Umar, for such a lovely introduction of all the panelists. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'll quickly look forward to just give a brief outline. So we'll start off with the basics so that people understand how this is relevant to the field of Islamic finance. So starting off with the first slide, let me help you all understand. Many of our attendees have been a part of this session in the previous private discussion which we had, but just to give you a brief outline about the evolution of internet, which is very important for all of you to understand, because the most important quote which I give when I'm explaining this concept is, what is the definition of risk? Risk comes from not knowing what we are doing. And when we understand the definition of risk in this format, we need to understand the moment we do not know where the technology is heading or the world is heading or what's happening around us, we are always at constant risk. And at this point of time, it's very important for us to understand how the internet had evolved and how it is evolving. So we all understand that the internet initially came into inception in the early 90s, and it was there for almost a decade till 2003. That is the Web 1 era. And the eventually from early 2000, you will see that the internet started transitioning into Web 2. And that's what we have been using till now. And that is predominantly what people think we are using till now. But if I specifically ask you, did you know exactly when the internet transitioned from 1 to 2? You'll not have a particular answer, because it was a gradual upgrade for a period of 6 to 7 years from Web 1 to Web 2. What used to happen in Web 1? We all know the days where MSN and AOL was used by all of us. In Web 1, all we could do is just read in the internet. We couldn't do anything else. Then came the Web 2 era, where we could not only read, not only write, not only edit, but we can also blog in the internet. This was the time where many of the data aggregators in the middle, like Google, Facebook, Amazon, or any other data aggregators, became multi-billion dollar companies. Some became multi-trillion dollar companies. Now comes the next era of internet, that is Web 3. If you could just change the slide, Umar bhai. So in Web 3, what we can do is we can not only read, write, edit, and blog, but we can also own the internet. What do we mean by ownership of internet? A simple example is that we all remember that we use browsers like Chrome or Safari. But what happens is it captures our cookies and gives it to other people for advertisements, and they make revenue out of it. So it's our data which the other people in the mediators make revenue out of. But what happens in Web 3 is your data is secured in the browser called Brave OS, where you can generate revenue for your data at the cost which you want. And this is where the internet is heading towards. Internet in the Web 3 era has started transitioning towards the end user. And if you ask me, the internet has already transitioned almost 60% in the Web 3 era. And this is something which has been happening. And inevitably, in the next 1 or 2 years, you will see internet completely transitioning towards the Web 3. Having said that, the Web 3, I wanted to help you understand how the internet right now looks like, because this is something which is very important for all of you to understand. The next slide, Shah. So this is something based on my research I have put across to all of you. This is something which all of you would need to understand in regards with how the internet has evolved and how internet is going to look like in the next decade or so. So long we remember internet was very linear. We used to use services out of internet, and that's what we have been doing. But now internet has transitioned more into a 3D or a holistic perspective, because there are so many various technologies associated to it. Just for example, if you could see that at the core of Web3, you see that AI is there, where almost everyone and all of us have started to use AI on a day-to-day basis. The foundation of Web3 is blockchain technology, that is decentralized data. So long we had cloud services, now we'll be having decentralized data services, allowing us to have more secure and more transparent data circulation in the internet. On the upper side of it is the internet has become more immersive in nature. Metaverse is coming into existence. AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, is coming more deeper into internet, allowing the internet to become more 3D in perspective and more immersive in nature. Internet in the Web 2 started transitioning from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G. And now we will look forward for the internet to transition from 5G to 6G and various other broadband services, which will make internet extremely powerful for the holistic approach of the internet which we have right now. And having so many technologies coming on board, we will see that there will be a lot of hacks and a lot of data penetration which will be happening, for which you will see quantum KYC will be coming into existence, quantum encryption, BB83 protocol, which will allow you to keep the internet more in safer hands and keep the data more safe and secure. And without doubt, data is a fundamental of anything on the internet. Now you will see that data will become more predictable in nature. We call it PDA, predictive data analytics. Now this is where the internet is heading towards. Now, having understood this, you should understand that no longer anything is linear. If you need to understand internet, you need to understand internet as a whole. Anything in the internet will have AI in it, will have blockchain in it. The entire internet will be connected through IoT, that is Internet of Things. You'll have Meta, you'll have various formats of internet. And knowing this, we understood that the technology is growing aggressively and advancing in different parts of the world. Now, how much do we remember going to the banks? Predominantly, everything has started becoming online. RTGS, NF transfers, SWIFT transfers, IMPS, UPIs, Apple Pay, Google Pay, everything is becoming online. Very rarely we go to the banks. Very rarely anything is happening in the banks. Everything is becoming digital, and no longer finance is finance. Now finance has become FinTech, because everything in finance is integrated with technology. Having said that, the most important aspect we need to understand is the financial industry is moving towards the fintech industry, which is very important for us to understand in the days to come. The next slide, please. Now coming to the core of finance, and how does this concept of internet and the transition of internet and how the internet works comes into picture. The fundamental of the latest version or the transition of internet is blockchain technology. When you say blockchain technology is completely decentralized in nature. A simple example, imagine if I'm giving you 10 rupees or giving you 100 rupees, it is scattered amongst all of us. What we are doing right now, this webinar is a decentralized format of data spreading. So all of us are able to filter the data, all of us are able to register the data. And if I want to hack into this data, I have to hack into the minds or hack into the systems of all of you, which is practically not possible. To give you a simple nutshell, blockchain technology is advanced technology, which is the fundamental of Web3. And many of us get confused that blockchain technology is cryptocurrency, which is not the case. A simple example, when email newly came into existence, email used internet as a technology and email was a product. Similarly, blockchain is the technology and cryptocurrency is the product. And to give you a brief outline, each of these blocks contain data, and the chain which connects the blocks is cryptocurrency. So hence the value of cryptocurrency is directly proportional to the data in the blocks. And how does this play a very vital role in the field of finance and fintech? I will tell it to you in the next slide. CBDCs. We all understand that majority of the central banks and majority of the governments have started integrating CBDCs. What is CBDC? Central banking digital currency. Now, this is something which is inevitable. And this is something which is happening with majority of the governments. Many people might say, no, it might not be necessary. It's happening. Many people might say that, no, not many central banks are going to do it. I would like to tell you that it's going to happen. The reason being, it's a very simple concept. What if the government had the power to increase the inflation and reduce the inflation at a click of a button? What if the government was able to create a money OS or an operating system for money where they can upgrade the currency every year or every quarter, every 2 years or 3 years? And what if they were able to increase the supply of the currency in the market or reduce the supply of the currency in the market based on the inflation? Similarly, what if they were able to control the interest rates based on the click of a button? This is something which is efficient, and this is something which is very useful for majority of the governments, and this is where CBDCs are coming into existence. And once CBDCs start coming into existence, majority of the transactions will become digital, and it's inevitable that digital currencies will become a new norm and a new transition. All the big companies like Visa and MasterCard are already started transitioning themselves into cryptocurrencies, into digital assets, and various forms of digital tokens. So I would like to wind off my session by telling you that fintech is heading towards a very significant transition. The finance industry is moving drastically, and it's very important that we understand where this transition is happening, and how can we create a significant impact understanding this in the field of Islamic fintech, and graduating it to anything more bigger, that is Islamic banking. Thank you so much, and handing over to our next panelist.